online lecture on learning the art of mediation and negotiation, organized by CCMDR.
Voice is echoing. I think voice echoing.
Actually, it is okay from our side, sir.
Okay, but here it is echo. Echo is going on.
Navya, please check. Is there anything?
All good from my end, ma'am. If all the participants could ensure if they're muted, maybe that would prevent the echo. Everyone except the person speaking, if they're muted, it will be all right.
Yeah, good morning. You just check, am I audible properly? Because I am hearing echo. मेरे को echo आ रही है इसके अंदर ना?
So you are clearly audible to us.
Sir, if you have joined from two sources, then maybe it's the reason. Have you joined from one source or two sources?
Only one source is there.
Okay.
One source. Yeah.
Because we can hear you clearly, actually, without any echo and anything. Is it okay, sir, now?
Yeah, it is okay. Our voice is okay, but now it is showing network. Yeah, again it is come. Yes, please. Yes, Deepshika ji. Okay.
We'll resume with your kind permission. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to today's online lecture on learning the art of negotiation. In today's legal landscape, the ability to resolve disputes through negotiation, communication, and settlement is becoming just as significant as courtroom advocacy itself. It represents not only procedural efficiency, but also a deeper commitment to preserving relationships, reducing conflict, and ensuring accessible justice. And to guide us through this important evolving area of law, we are truly privileged to have with us today an eminent legal professional, an experienced Supreme Court practitioner, a trained mediator, and a distinguished voice in public law and dispute resolution, Mr. Ajay Bansal, our esteemed speaker for today's lecture. Before we proceed further, allow me to kindly introduce our distinguished guest's remarkable professional journey. Mr. Bansal is an advocate and mediator practicing before the Supreme Court of India with nearly 3 decades of legal experience. A graduate of the University of Delhi, he later pursued legal studies from there and also undertook higher academic exposure at the University of Ottawa in 1992. As a first-gen lawyer, he began his Supreme Court practice in 1996 as Central Government Counsel and has since served in several important public offices, including Additional Advocate General for Punjab and Haryana before the Supreme Court and Senior Central Government Counsel. He has represented major governmental bodies, public sector undertakings, and constitutional authorities, and continues to appear as senior arguing counsel for multiple institutions, including the NDMC. Mr. Bansal has also contributed significantly to the Supreme Court Bar Association, serving on its executive committee and becoming one of its youngest treasurers, where he supported institutional reforms and welfare initiatives. A trained mediator with the Supreme Court of India, he has actively promoted mediation through seminars, institutional programs, and training. His work also extends to public service. During the 2013 North India floods, he moved a writ petition that aided urgent rescue efforts. He has further contributed to social harmony and legal education through charitable initiatives and by authoring recent reference books on mediation and arbitration for young learners and professionals. With such a vast and multidimensional experience in advocacy, public law, mediation, and institution building, we are truly honored to have you with us today, sir. So please join me in warmly welcoming Mr. Ajay Bansal to deliver his online lecture on the art of negotiation. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Deepshika ji. It is indeed a great pleasure to be with Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, National Law University, Sonipat. Honorable Professor Dr. Dvinder Singh ji, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Ashutosh Mishra ji, Registrar of the B.R. Ambedkar National Law University, Deepshika ji and Akash ji and all faculty coordinators and team members of Center for Conflict Management and Dispute Resolution. It is my privilege to be associated with you during our recent conversations at the convocation function held at Delhi. And today, though we are online, I wish to be there with you, but soon we will be there, assembling there for some other cause. And let me begin by saying that, my dear future leaders of the legal profession, esteemed organizers of B.R. Ambedkar National Law University, it is pleasure to be here and discuss a topic that is not just a cornerstone of your legal practice, because all, I believe, all are the students. So they are the future of the nation. They all will be joining our profession and they will become colleagues. Someone will be on the bench. So it is a fundamental aspect of human existence. Negotiation, the philosophical roots of conflict and negotiation. And before we delve into the strategies and tactics, am I audible, Deepshika ji? Is clearly?
Clear, sir. All clear.
Yes, thank you. Before we delve into the strategies and tactics that you all will be using in the courtrooms, boardrooms, or wherever, I want to start with a profound question. Why do we need a negotiation in the first place? Where does conflict truly comes from? Ancient wisdom so far as tells us that every human being is fundamentally the same. We all are composed of the same 5 universal elements, the Panch Tattva: Prithvi, Jal, Vayu, Agni, Akash, Earth, Water, Air, Space. This is our foundation. That is the grain commonality. It is the essence of our shared humanity. But if we all are made of the same core elements, then why are we so different? The answer lies in our perception and our actions. Though each of us is equipped with what are called 5 Gyanendriyas and 5 senses of organ that perceive the world, and 5 Karmendriyas, our 5 organs of action that allows us to interact with the world. As right now, I am interacting with all of you. While we possess all these faculties, how they function within each of one of us is entirely unique. My eyes sees an event in one way, and your will see it another way. My mind possesses the same information based on my life experiences, and your mind possesses it based on yours experiences, your upbringing. This is what makes every individual a separate and distinct entity. And right there, in this beautiful, complex uniqueness, is the birthplace of the conflict. When my thought processes, driven by my senses and actions, differs from yours, then it gives rise to differences of opinions. So it can fester into arguments, disputes, and ultimately the litigation that will define your careers, the future of the judicial history. So this is precisely why negotiation is very, very crucial. So it is the essential human skill for bridging the gap between our different realities, and we learn it long before we even ever open a law book. Think about it. As a child, you all have negotiated with your parents, sometimes for more playtime instead of study time. You all have negotiated with your siblings, right, over who will get the better piece of paper, piece of cake, or who will get the bigger one. So we have already learned to persuade, to compromise, to find common grounds because of differences in opinion, thoughts, and habits, even within our own families. So as we proceed today, I want you to hold this idea. Negotiation is not just a legal technique. It is the primary tool we have to manage the inevitable conflicts that arise from our shared yet wonderfully different human nature. So it is the art of turning conflict into consensus. That's what negotiation is. So, what are the core concepts of negotiation? It's building the foundation, like. So, exactly, negotiation in the professional context, I would say it is the art and science of reaching an agreement between the parties with different needs, different interests, or viewpoints, but it is achievable. How? Through dialogue, persuasion, communication, and collaboration. So, to master this art, you must first understand its fundamental forms. Broadly, negotiation we can fall into two categories. Firstly, I call it distributive negotiation. What is that? Think of a situation where there is a fixed pie scenario. That is, there is a limited resource, and the goal is to claim as much as of it for your client as possible. So it is like a win-lose situation. A classic example of negotiating the settlement amount in a personal injury case is very clear. When there is a fixed amount of money on the table, and every dollar your client gets is a dollar the other side loses. So this kind of negotiation is often adversarial and focused on single issue. Whereas the second one, which is more popular, sophisticated form, is the integrative negotiation. This is about expanding the pie. It is like win-win situation for each and everybody, where the goal is not to divide fixed resources, but to create new value by addressing the underlying interests of all the parties. For example, imagine a situation you are handling a dispute between two founders of a startup. Now, this is a new area of startup has grown up. A distributive approach would be to fight over who buys out whom. Whereas an integrative approach would be to explore their underlying interests. Perhaps one of the founders wants creative control, while the other wants reduced operational role, but financial security. So the solution would be more a new corporate structure that gives both what they truly need, what they truly want, a win-win outcome that a simple buyout could never achieve. So this sort of negotiation requires collaboration and creativity. So to go ahead to navigate either type of negotiations, we must understand its natural flow. The process generally flows number of stages. So I would just define a little bit of these stages or key skills, you can say, for a successful negotiation. Because to my mind, first one is the preparation. Preparation includes what? Research. Understand the facts, interests of the parties, goal of all the parties. Then you have to develop a clear strategy and set your objectives, how to go for same. Like if being a student, if you are suddenly asked, go and appear in an examination of competitive examination or a subject which you have not prepared, even don't know. So the result will be not that nice, which otherwise could have been. So preparation includes fundamental aspect of research and all these aspects. Then comes active listening. We have to focus on understanding the other party's perspective, what they want. Because for that, we have to develop a habit of active listening. And then this part of the active listening is build a rapport and trust with the parties. And that is possible by showing empathy. Right? So communicate, then comes the communication. Articulate your points clearly and persuasively, and use verbal and non-verbal cues effectively. Right? And then comes problem solving. Identify common areas interests, and explore creative solutions. The another aspect is aim. We must have aim. Aim for outcome that satisfies need of all the parties. So if you have two parties, five parties, we have to keep an aim. That's so that all this is satisfy all the parties' needs. Then this is very important. So far as to my mind, emotional intelligence. While being a negotiator, we have to manage emotions, our emotions, and at the same time understand the emotions of the others, all the parties. And at the same time, we have to remain calm and composed under all kind of pressures. Because sometimes you will find the parties behave very differently when they face each other, when there is a conflict. So for at that point of time, emotional intelligence is very, very important tool to arrive at a negotiation, to go ahead for the negotiation. So then comes the adaptability, right? Adaptability means we have to stay flexible and we always must open to the new ideas because out of box thinking has to be there. And accordingly, we have to adjust the strategies as the situation evolves, as the parties come out with something new. So then strategies has to be evolved accordingly. Then the next comes patience and persistence, right? What is that? We all know patience. Recognize negotiation is often a time-intensive process. It is not like that today parties comes and we resolve it immediately. Now even the negotiations between all the nations is required. Like we are seeing number of wars going on around the world. So best thing is to go for negotiations, right? For that, we have to recognize the time-intensive process, right? So we have to remain focused and determined to achieve our goals. And what are these are the key skills which we have just discussed, because every topic we can discuss it on length also, but giving you the broader idea so that you all are will be benefited while doing your courses on mediation or other subjects. This is one of the core to my heart. So stages of negotiation. First is again, which we have seen, preparation. Understand your goals, research, gather information and set clear objectives, right? Then is the opening. How to open the things? Initiate dialogue and establish a positive note, right? Then secondly, define the scope and process of negotiation, right? Then comes exploration. Exchange information between the parties, clarify the positions, and at the same time, identify interests of all the parties. Because that is very important. Exchange of information, clarify the positions of all the parties, and then looking into the and exploring, identifying the interests of all the parties. At the same time, build trust between the parties and between parties and the you, and seek common ground so that where they can sit on which issues it can be moved ahead. Then comes bargaining. Because once this process is there, then you can go ahead with the bargaining. Present your proposals, make concessions, take counter offers, then aim to reach a mutually beneficial agreement, right? Once bargaining is successful, then comes the closing, finalizing the terms, confine agreements, document outcomes, how to do that. And we have to ensure clarity of the document. At the same time, commitment from all the parties. Because while we close, we have to see that whether all the parties are committed to the settlement. Only then it can be implemented. Because next comes implementation. Then we have to execute the agreed terms, monitor their compliances, incorporate each and every minute detail. And don't forget to address any misunderstanding or conflicts promptly, even if there is a threat of any differences. Please remove that immediately. Right? These are the stages of the negotiation. Very. There are certain barriers, like we have said, if there is non-preparedness, that is the barrier. Huh? Then if there is a lack of trust and confidence, that is another barrier. Even if there is a lack of empathy with the negotiator, that is also a barrier. And apart from that, there are cultural barriers. Even in India, you see a person sitting in Chennai or in Andhra and a person in Maharashtra and another in Himachal or in Haryana, there is a cultural difference, even maybe in the business or matrimonials or other barriers. So we have to note down all the cultural barriers, right? So here, I just give you one quote, right? How to go for the negotiation. With persuasion, one can win over good people. With firmness, one can handle the wicked, and a mix of both ensures success in all kind of negotiations. So here the relevance of this quote is a successful negotiation requires a balance of diplomacy and firmness, right? And because you have broadly you have the idea of all the negotiation stages and the key skills and why we go for the same, why it is essential tool. And let me illustrate the same. There is a very famous case, so which is very core to my heart to illustrate how deeply negotiation personally and composer can influence an outcome. Let me turn to a very powerful example from the corporate world. That is the Disney Pixar merger. You all must have heard about the Disney, right? During our childhood, we start hearing about Disney, right? What is the that? There is a very famous case. This is a set example which defines all kind of principles discussed by us for the negotiation, for a successful negotiation. The merger of Disney and Pixar, it happened in 2006. And let me tell you, acquisition of Pixar animation was taken by Walt Disney. This is an excellent example of effective and reflective negotiation. It has demonstrated how leaders used preparation, emotional intelligence, communication, strategy, and reflection to achieve a win-win outcome in a very, very high-stake business deal. Many of us will be knowing, especially students also. Disney and Pixar had collaborated for years, and they have produced iconic films such as Toy Story and Finding Nemo. On the surface, this appeared to be very successful partnership, but behind closed doors, the relationship was deteriorating. Pixar felt creatively constrained and overshadowed by Disney's corporate structure. Disney was a very big company. It is a big company, of course. And by the early 2000s, Disney's relationship with Pixar became strained. Pixar was under the leadership of Steve Jobs. They have produced blockbusters, as we have pointed out, Toy Story, right, Finding Nemo, which significantly boosted the Disney's brand. However, contractual disagreements and creative conflicts risk ending their partnership. So, recognizing the value Pixar has brought to the business of Disney, Disney wished to negotiate and wanted to acquire the Pixar studios in 2006. And let me tell you, it was the highest deal at that point of time, right? And I will tell you the deal amount also. But what are the key abilities used for that successful negotiation? This is all the principles which we have seen in the negotiation. First is preparedness and planning. Disney analyzed its declining animation. Their performance was declining. And Disney identified Pixar's innovative culture and Pixar's talent as critical to revitalize its brand. So the team recognized Pixar's creative, unique process. Though Disney was leader in distribution, marketing, and global reach, the big corporate affair, right? And Pixar, which was under the Steve Jobs, who was the CEO, he was a very strong negotiator. He put his position emphasizing Pixar's independence and its unique creative culture as non-negotiable asset. They said it is not to be negotiable because we are the creators and it's a unique. And he publicly declared that he wanted to end the relationships with the Disneys. So ultimately, the partnership had reached a point where negotiation no longer seemed possible. So here comes, as I have discussed in the previous lecture session, emotional intelligence. See, the Disney's CEO was changed. Disney's new CEO, Bob Iger, he demonstrated emotional intelligence, acknowledged past mistakes, though it was a big company, corporate culture, giant, still expressed genuine desire to rebuild trust with the Pixar. And Pixar's CEO also empathized with Disney. They wanted to rejuvenate its brand, but they were firm on protecting its independence and at least identity of its creativeness, as well as its two major persons implies. So here comes the communication skill. How it is that possible? A transparent dialogue started. Open discussions, engagement by both the companies, top level with open mind. Pixar emphasized the importance of creative freedom, while Disney assured Pixar would remain an autonomous entity for its creative contents. So here comes the collaboration. Because once the things were clear, emotional intelligence was there, communication was there, open dialogues were there, so comes the collaboration. So Disney focused on fostering a collaborative atmosphere rather than adversarial. So reducing tension and building rapport and trust with the Pixar. Why this happened? There is a strategic thinking, win-win approach. They proposed a structure, Disney proposed a structure where Pixar retained creative autonomy while benefiting from Disney's distribution, marketing power. So need of both the parties were addressed because Disney was the major channel to make their creative contents available around the world. So long-term vision of both the companies was there. So Disney and vision, not just financial, but cultural revitalization. There is a cultural revitalization. Pixar's innovative approach to animation that was addressed. And at the same time, there's the ethical approach. What is that? Disney, through Iger, prioritized fairness and transparency throughout the negotiations, ensuring Pixar simply felt secure about their future under Disney's ownership. So they win our situation. So ethical approach is identified. Reflective component, what is that reflective component over there? Post-negotiation evaluation was done. Disney's reflection was its declining animation quality. So they recognized need of the creative rejuvenation, which motivated them to acquire the Pixar. Pixar's potential to amplify global reach while safeguarding its culture and at the same time retaining its creative control and independence. So this was like learning from the past mistakes. Though there were barriers, cultural difference was a big barrier. Because here the challenge, Disney's is a corporate culture, which clashed with Pixar's creative-driven environment. They were just creative of the contents. They don't know how to market them, how to put it before the world. But still the solution, Disney agreed to maintain Pixar's independence, allowing its leaders, there were two leaders, Ed Catmull and John Lester. They were retained to manage the operations independently. They were given free hand. So there is a power dynamic. What is that? There is a power dynamic where challenge is Disney is the larger company. They could have imposed its will. No, you have to go by this. But no, it was not like that. Solution, what was the Disney adopted a partnership approach, recognizing Pixar's contribution as equal, and financial valuation was done. There is a challenge. Pixar's valuation was high, leading to concerns about overpaying at that point of time. Whereas Disney came with a solution. They focused on a long-term value that Pixar would bring through its creative innovation. So the best outcome of this negotiation resulted in a landmark acquisition. Disney purchased Pixar for $7.4 billion at that time in stocks. Though Pixar retained its unique culture and autonomy, with its two leaders taking leadership roles in Disney's animation division. So Disney thereafter produced various hits like Frozen, Zootopia, and Encanto. So the Disney Pixar case, it really teaches us that behind every dispute, whether it is personal, it is legal, it is corporate, there lies fears, identities, aspirations, emotional truths that cannot be ignored because we all are human beings. People negotiate from emotion first and logic second. A skilled mediator knows, or negotiator, because that is one of the qualities of the mediator, knows how to address both, how to calm the emotion so that logic can finally emerge. So this case highlights the power of collaboration, strategic thinking, and it's a reflection in achieving a successful negotiation. The result was really extraordinary. Merger not only succeeded, but led to one of the most productive periods in modern animation. Disney animation revival, Pixar's continued creative freedom, and deep mutual respect between the two companies. This all stemmed from the style of negotiation that guided the agreement. So the conflict was not resolved by overpowering the other side, right? But by understanding them, understanding each other, needs. So this is a reminder for all of us that whenever people feel respected, understood, then negotiation becomes collaboration. And collaboration always produces results that neither side could have achieved alone. So, my dear friends, the work we all do is more than just a profession. It is a calling. We are stewards of dialogue in this world, which is increasingly polarized. So, by mastering the deeper arts of negotiation, by grounding ourselves in principle, leading with emotional intelligence, courageously breaking impasse, and fostering these creative solutions, we do more than resolve individual disputes. What we do in mediation? What we do? Very dear to me, we build bridges. We repair relationships. We prove that even in the face of profound disagreement, there is always a path to understand and mutual respect for each other. So you all become a good mediators, negotiators, and shine in your profession. And let me wish you good luck. And if any one of you have any queries on this subject or any other subject on mediation or negotiation, you all are welcome. And we will be meeting soon also. And let me thank you to each one of you for your time, for your unwavering commitment to this vital work. And I really thank you. I really extend my heartiest gratitude to Devinder Singh Ji, Honorable Vice Chancellor of B.R. Ambedkar National Law University, Professor Dr. my friend Ashutosh Mishra, Registrar of the University, Dr. Deepshika Ji, for taking this call at a very, very short notice. My heartfelt gratitude, and the entire team, the coordinators, as well as all the persons who could able to join at this very short notice, and team members of Center for Conflict Management and Dispute Resolution. And once again, I thank you. With these words, I sum up today's lecture on this negotiation. And let me share one recent quote said by Honorable Chief Justice Shri Surya Kanji. This argument win cases, I quote, argument win cases, preparation wins arguments. Fear has no place where preparation is strong.
Yes.
So we all need to prepare. And once you go prepared, you can do wonders either in this profession or on the bench or in the corporate sector or in your respective professions, fields, wherever you go. So my good wishes to all of you to have a bright and shine future. Thank you, Deepshika ji. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for such an insightful and enriching session. Your reflections on negotiation drawn from your experience and the real life industrial examples you gave, like of those of Disney and Pixar, were really enlightening for all of us. We sincerely thank you for sharing your time, experience, and wisdom with us today. And as we come to the conclusion of this lecture, I invite Dr. Deepshika Ma'am, the faculty coordinator for CCMDR, to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Navya. Respected sir, distinguished faculty members, and my dear students. On behalf of everyone present here, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our esteemed speaker for delivering such an insightful lecture on the topic of negotiation. The session was informative and helped us understand that negotiation is not only a professional skill but also a life skill, and that we use in our daily interactions start from our as sir says from our early days. Through today's lecture, we learned how effective communication, patience, and understanding the interest of both parties can lead to successful negotiation. The practical examples shared during the session made the concept clearer and more relatable for all of us. I would like to thank our institution and the organizing team for arranging this valuable session and giving us opportunity to learn from such an experienced speaker. Once again, I extend my heartfelt thanks to our speaker for taking the time to guide us and inspire us. We truly appreciate your presence and knowledge you shared with us today. Thank you, sir. And as you said, we really want to meet you in person, and I think very soon we will be arranging that in our campus. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Deepika ji.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Hope to connect soon again.
Yes, sir.
And please give all the students a participation certificate because
100%.
because of the record they all will be given some sort of benefits as is going on in the minds of the concerned headquarters.
Truly, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hope to connect you soon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mới sử dụng cũng nhớ mình ra là lý do सर होगी मीटिंग ना तभी हाँ 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 वो क्लिक मार कर ना हाँ ये हो गया